In 1977, two rooms of students watched the same Belgian instructor on tape with the exact same accent. One room called that accent charming. The other called it irritating. Nothing about the accent had changed. Only his warmth had. And when the researchers asked why, the students explained confidently and got it backwards. You think you judge people in pieces. Smart here, funny there, a little too loud, decent shoes. Separate scores on separate lines like a scorecard you're quietly filling out under the table. That's not what's happening. And the experiment that proved it's almost rude in how simple it was. Richard Nisbett and Timothy Wilson were psychologists chasing a question that sounds harmless until you sit with it. Do people actually know why they like what they like? Not the story they tell, the real reason. So they made two videotapes of one man, a Belgian instructor, teaching, answering questions in English. Same man, same face, same heavy accent, same slightly stiff way of holding his hands. In the first tape, he's warm, enthusiastic about teaching, relaxed about the students, easy in his chair. In the second, same questions, same setup, but he's cold, distant, rigid, faintly disapproving. Students were split into two groups. Each group saw one version. Nobody saw both, so nobody compared. Then they rated him, how likable he seemed, and separately, three things that hadn't changed at all. His physical appearance, his mannerisms, and his accent, the one physical fact a second take can't fake. Same man, so those three ratings should have landed in roughly the same place in both rooms. They didn't come close, not slightly off, two rooms describing what sounded like two different men. The warm group found his appearance appealing, his mannerisms fine, his accent honestly sort of charming. The cold group found that same appearance off-putting, the mannerisms fidgety, and the accent grating. Same recording, same vowels. One room heard European, the other heard something they wanted to end. But the ratings aren't the strange part. The strange part is what the student said next. The researchers asked a follow-up question most studies never bother with. They asked about the cause. Did how much you liked him affect how you rated his accent, his looks, his mannerisms? The warm group said no, absolutely not. They'd judged those things on their own merits, thanks. Which is what you'd expect. Nobody wants to admit an opinion about a face came from a mood. The cold group did something stranger. They didn't just deny it, they turned the arrow around. They said the accent and the mannerisms were what had lowered their overall opinion of him. Meaning, I don't dislike his accent because I dislike him. I dislike him because of his accent. The tapes say otherwise. The only thing the experimenters moved was how warm the man acted. Everything downstream moved with it, and the students wrote a confident explanation pointing the wrong way. That's the halo effect, one global impression, and every specific judgment quietly bends to match it. Not a scorecard, a dial. Turn it up, the accent is charming, the pauses are thoughtful. Turn it down, and those same pauses read awkward, and that same accent becomes work to listen to. The word halo makes it sound flattering. It runs exactly as hard in the other direction. Some psychologists call that the horn effect, which is a generous name for someone's very bad afternoon. If that just reframes something for you, that's exactly what this channel is for. Stick around. Because the effect had a name long before that videotape. Start with 1920 and a psychologist named Thorndike. Thorndike asked commanding officers to rate soldiers on separate qualities: physique, intelligence, leadership, character. Things with almost nothing to do with each other. The ratings came back nearly locked together. A soldier with a good build got rated smarter. A smart-seeming one got rated more loyal. The officers weren't lying. They were doing what you do reading a resume with a typo in it. One flaw catches, and the whole document starts reading sloppy, including the parts that are genuinely good. So why would a mind work this way? It isn't stupidity, it's a compression problem. A stranger is thousands of signals arriving faster than you could file them into separate folders. Voice, posture, pace, eye contact, the half second before they answer, what they're doing with their hands. You need one number out of all that, quickly, because the underlying question is old and simple. Move toward this person, or away. That's what the machinery was built for, long before job interviews. So the pieces get averaged into a single feeling. Then, that feeling gets consulted about everything. Ask about his accent, and there's no separate accent file to open, there's just the feeling. The feeling answers. About his accent, his face, his competence, whether you'd trust him with your keys. One source, many answers, all of them sounding independent. That's why they agree so suspiciously well. You've watched this run in your own inbox without ever giving it a name. A message from a friend reads fine. The same message from someone you're annoyed with reads clipped. Same words, same punctuation. The period at the end went from normal to cold in one afternoon. Or a laugh. Year 1, it's contagious. Year 3, after a falling out, it's a sound you brace for. Nothing about the laugh changed. The dial moved and the laugh got re-rendered underneath it. You didn't decide that. You just noticed one day that you'd started noticing how he'd choose. And you had a reason ready. You always have a reason ready. That's the next problem. Because here's what separates this study from 100 other bias experiments you've half heard about. The students weren't guessing. They weren't hedging. They reported their reasons with genuine, unbothered confidence. That confidence is the tell. Nobody in that room felt biased. Bias doesn't arrive with a feeling. That's the twist. The halo is invisible from the inside. Not by accident, by design. You never experience the dial turning. You experience the result, his accent, sitting there being annoying. The bias happens upstream of anything you can watch. What reaches you is already a finished verdict. That same year, Nisbett and Wilson published a second paper whose title does most of the work. Telling more than we can know. People report the reasons behind their judgments constantly, freely, fluently. Their argument, those reports often aren't memories of a process. They're guesses, assembled afterward. Your mind is a spokesperson, not a witness. It wasn't in the room where the decision happened. It gets handed a verdict and asked for a statement, and it's very good at its job. So it reaches for a plausible cause, something nearby, something specific. The accent will do fine. Then it hands you that sentence with the same certainty as remembering what you ate this morning. So the cold group wasn't lying. They gave a sincere press release about a decision they never saw. Now run that forward into the part of life where it actually costs you something. Ask anyone why they're drawn to someone and you'll get a clean list. Funny, ambitious, tall enough. The list feels real to them. It's also assembled after the fact from whatever was easiest to point at. Which explains something you've noticed. People's stated type and their actual history almost never match. They'll swear confidence isn't the thing, then describe 6 exes who all walked into rooms the same way. Or say the last one was just funny, when what landed was how he talked to the waiter. The traits get named. The dial stays hidden. Then the named traits get promoted to the cause. And it survives every argument because your explanation feels like something you personally watched happen. You can't fact-check a feeling you believe you observed from the outside the entire time, which brings us to the useful part, and it's smaller and sharper than you'd expect. If warmth sets the dial, the first minute with a stranger isn't just the first minute. It's the lens on every minute after. What you do at second 30 colors what you say at minute 9. Come in warm and your ideas sound sharper. Your accent sounds like character. Your pauses sound deliberate. Come in flat, tired, distracted, half-checking a phone, and the same ideas land as fine, at best. And nobody will say he seemed cold. They'll say the argument was weak, and they will believe it. So the move isn't performing charisma. It's realizing warmth isn't decoration sitting on top of content. For that first minute, warmth is the content. It's the setting everything else gets measured against. The other half is defense for when you're the one holding the dial without noticing. When you're judging someone, make yourself name the specific thing out loud with an actual example. He skipped the cost question as a judgment. Something about him is the dial talking. And when the vague version is all you've got, don't trust it yet. Go get a second look. Better, separate the work from the person. Read the memo with the name cut off the top. Score the thing before you meet the human, because afterward, you're mostly scoring the human. Good hiring panels do this deliberately, not because people lie, but because sincerity isn't accuracy. That's the lesson from one Belgian instructor, delivering the exact same accent to 2 different rooms. You don't judge traits one at a time. You judge one glow, then explain it afterward, convincingly. You'll never catch it happening, so if this reframes something, like and subscribe. Next up, why your most confident memories are often wrong. Your next blind spot is already in the queue. Thanks for watching. Lead with the warmth.